Alright everyone, it's time for Occult Literature, video number 345, The Divine Spark. It also has a second essay in it. I'll get to that. Link in the description to my edition of this work on Amazon. Second and third links are to my books blogs, both Blogspot and WordPress. This is a short work. It's two essays wrapped up in 38 pages of actual literature, and it's by Clymer, so it comes from basically a Rosicrucian Freemasonic joint background. And when it does, the first essay is called The Divine Spark, hence the title, and it's about how man can improve health and potentially even move towards, incredulous as this may sound, immortality through proper breathing exercises and nutrition. So the idea there is it makes a concordance between the human body and what was then quite novel, which is the gasoline engine, the automobile. The idea is that the fuel needs proper air for combustion, and sort of talks about, well, this is basically the same as humans. If a human is breathing properly at all times, this will make them healthier, this will make them less likely to get sick, they'll process food more easily, and there's no reason why they can't become immortal. Now, medical science has advanced a little bit in the last 100 years. We know that you can't become immortal by breathing techniques. You can certainly help stave off respiratory issues. You can certainly maximize the efficiency of your cellular processes, but you can't live forever just because of the way you breathe. So it's an interesting essay. I think the second one is a little bit more interesting, and that's specifically on the Great Pyramid as a center of initiation. That the use of the Great Pyramid, which was never fully finished, the Pyramid of Cheops, that this was used by the priests essentially to initiate people, and that essentially the queens, kings, and the main antechamber were used for different parts of this specific process, to go through sort of from darkness to light, as it were, on the path to enlightenment and initiation. It finishes this second essay with an admonishment actually to the Freemasons, alluding to the Illuminati, and it's not clear whether Clymer is talking about a contemporary order using that name, like something he was involved with, or whether he's referring to the Bavarian Illuminati of the 18th century. I couldn't figure out which one he's alluding to, so Clymer could be a little bit odd at times in his writing style, we'll put it that way. Very interesting individual, but slightly scattered, maybe in the religious and spiritual sense, I'm just saying. Admonishing the Freemasons to take up the work of spiritual masonry as based partially on this Great Pyramid initiation sort of tale, which of course is not something that is accepted by mainstream archaeology, but it's posited by certain spiritualists as well as some non-mainstream archaeologists. I happen to be slightly amenable to the concept that this idea of enlightening the individual through these ritual practices is essentially a primordial version of Masonic ritual. In Masonry, there are a series of rituals they go through as well, more or less depending on the lodge, depending on sort of what they have available for resources at this point, I think, too. And the idea is a spiritual symbol, a metaphor, a spiritual polemic, a tale that is told in order to remind you of certain spiritual concepts. But the Masons, especially at this time, were still involved in many cases with work, with actual masonry, and then of course the Masons today, they're still in the habit of finding jobs for younger members. So the older members frequently will be in blue-collar work, so carpentry, masonry, things of that nature, business management and stuff. There's quite a few connections with this because a lot of the older money families that had some means, they took the training, they had the skills and the resources, they sort of coalesced in these gentlemen's clubs, in these movements, and then they could help other members if they thought that they were worth investing time and effort into and get them ahead in life potentially. That had become much about business and about fraternalizing in the interpersonal sense, and fallen away, I suppose in Clymer's view, from the initial more spiritual side of it. The actual metaphoric ritual system was basically an afterthought. It was an interesting sort of gimmick and had passed away from other usefulnesses. And so Clymer is admonishing the Freemasons to take up more of a spiritual bent in their work, I suppose. It's an interesting essay. I think that, again, the second essay is more interesting, but it's definitely highly recommended despite its short size, again, only 38 pages, being only a pair of short essays. Clymer's works are usually worth reading anyway. This one, I think, is one of the better works. Again, though, I'm not sure, and to those of you that are into secret societies, the Masons, the Rosicrucians, or whatever, you'll love this work. I couldn't figure out, and maybe one of you can at some point, is he talking about the actual Illuminati in the Bavarian school sense, or is he talking about some contemporary order? Because there are some cases in which I've read occult literature from smaller groups and more obscure authors, where they refer to orders that I can't find anything about. Occasionally, this is even the case with books like the Thomas Jefferson fortune teller that I saw listed in the back of a different Oracle work once. I couldn't find anything about it. I have no clue. I don't even know if it exists anymore. This is why I'm seeking to promulgate these literary works, because otherwise some of them, they might not exist for very long, because there's not many physical copies left. Again, link in the description of my edition of this work on Amazon. Recommended for those interested in the Masons, Rosicrucians, that sort of side of things. Second and third links to my books, blogs, where much other content also is available. That's about all. Peace out.